welcome to the reading room. My name is Dee. Today I am filming my first book review video, and for that I have chosen The Crash by Freida McFadden. It is her newest novel. I am a big fan of Freida McFadden. I discovered her as author last year and was just enamored. I just had to read anything I could get my hands on. She writes mystery thriller types with very well known for her plot twist at the end of the book. Sometimes she'll do it in a couple pages, which is impressive. Sometimes she'll do it over the course of a chapter or two, and she, for the most part, nails it most of the bit. So that'll come up when we talk about The Crash. The Crash is about a 23-year-old girl named Tegan who is 8 months pregnant. Not having an easy time of it. She's working at a supermarket and picking up extra shifts to have money to take care of the baby. And she also lives in a very poor apartment in a poor neighborhood. The pregnancy was the result of a one-night stand, and she later found out that the gentleman was married and he wants nothing to do with her or with the child. So he's a successful businessman, so he in essence offers her a large sum of money to go away. During the course of the first few chapters, she's working with a lawyer. It seems like a very nice guy. She kind of pictures what it would be like to be with him, to be in a stable relationship, but she realizes that's not something she's prepared for because she has this child. Now, the day that they are set to sign the contract, it's the first time she has seen the father of her baby since the one-night stand, comes into her apartment, and the smell of his cologne triggers something in her, and she suddenly has a flood of memories and realizes it was not a one-night stand. He had slipped something in her drink and in essence assaulted her. She accuses him of this, and it breaks down the contract talks. Neither of them sign. Then moving on, she doesn't know what she's going to do other than report this to the police. Now she's talking to her brother who works at a ski resort upstate, and he basically says, you need to come and get up here. You need to get away from it for a few days. We'll talk about what you should do next. But yeah, get up here soon. So she drives up there, and unfortunately there's a huge snowstorm, and she crashes her car. Hence the title of the novel, The Crash. So she is stuck in her car. She has a broken ankle, and she's banged up pretty bad, trying to figure out how she's going to get out of this situation when a truck pulls up and a gentleman gets out and he is set to help her. She's intimidated by him because of his size, his big beard, and that's when she kind of starts thinking of all the bad things that can happen. You know, he's going to take me, he's going to lock me in a basement, but she has to get out of this situation. So he gets her into the truck, and she's like, take me to the hospital. And he says, I can't, because the storm is so bad, I would get stuck and we'd still be in a bad situation. And just live up the road here, we'll make it there. Once the storm passes, I will get you to the hospital. When she gets to the house, she meets this gentleman's wife, who seems a little standoffish at first, but she is a nurse, and she has a hospital bed in her basement. And I know that sounds, again, it's a perception that not only does Tegan have, but is in the reader's mind. But the bed is there because the wife's mother had recently passed and she was taking care of her in hospice. So the wife gets Tegan down into the basement, into the bed, wants to check on her ankle, but Tegan's very adamant about her not taking off the shoe because it hurts bad. She refuses to take any kind of pain-killing medication because of the baby. But the nurse, the wife, does her best to help her get comfortable, and again tells her once the storm has passed, they'll get her to the hospital. She tries to get her to call an ambulance, but the phones are out as well. This is when Tegan notices a bruise on the wife's wrist. She also hears them arguing upstairs, so she gets this perception that this man that she's already intimidated by basically is very controlling towards his wife, possibly abuses her. What this starts is a kind of, I don't necessarily want to say battle of the wills, but a survival story in Tegan's mind as what can she do to get out of the situation. because now it becomes to where the wife is like, we can't get you out, the roads haven't been plowed, the phone is still out, and Tegan is basically, she's in pain. I'm concerned for my baby. It's at this point in the novel where Freida McFadden starts playing with perceptions extremely well. Because what happens is, we already know Tegan has this perception of her husband as a controlling, possibly abusive person. The perception that the fact since she's in a basement, he can't mean any good towards her. They keep making excuses why they can't get her to the hospital or get an ambulance to her. But now we start switching to the wife's perceptions of Tegan. She sees this young girl pregnant, and she gets this idea through talking with Tegan, who initially lies, saying she is married, because Tegan doesn't want that perception of being an unwed mother to influence the wife. She later admits that no, she's not married. Child was conceived out of wedlock. And the wife's perception starts switching to, here's this young girl, doesn't want this baby, can't take care of this baby. My husband and they have fertility issues that they can't have a child. So the wife is, initially, I'm going to convince her to let us have the baby. You give birth to it, we'll take care of it. It'll be a love child. Now, as this progresses, you start seeing a change in the wife's frame of mind, because the husband is basically, and this is unknown to Tegan, the husband is, we need to get her to a hospital. And the wife basically convinces him, no, she wants to stay. She's fine with me taking care of her. Eventually, she brings the idea up to her husband that Tegan doesn't want the baby. She's going to give it to us. Now, Tegan at this point wants to get out of the situation. She wants to get upstairs. She knows her cell phone's up there. So she musters through the pain to get up, get around in a wheelchair to try to get out of this situation. The wife catches her, gets her back into bed. There's another scene where Tegan gets a needle that she could use to stab the wife to try to get her out of the situation, because by now she's starting to figure out that something's not right with the wife. The wife starts, in essence, drugging her with a safe antihistamine to keep her sleepy. And here's another part where Freida McFadden plays with the reader's perception. If you remember the movie Misery, I have not read the book by Stephen King, but I've seen the movie. It's a similar situation. An author, James Caan, gets into a car accident. He's saved by Kathy Bates. She's a big fan of his, reads his novel, goes psycho. She leaves to go take care of something, and he gets up, gets around in a wheelchair. She figures it out and wants to immobilize him so he can't get up again. The famous scene where she puts the 4x4 between his legs, takes a sledgehammer, breaks his ankle. So Freida McFadden plays with this perception that this scenario is going to be in the reader's mind. We've already got a broken ankle on Tegan. Well, the wife, as Tegan is sleeping, in essence drugged, sleepy, gets a hammer, and she's going to go down to the basement and make it that she can't get out of bed again to get in this wheelchair and possibly try to escape. And then at that point, she plans to give her a concoction that will induce an early labor. She'll get the child. At that point, she'll have to make a decision what to do with Tegan. I can't say any more past this point, because this is where we start getting into spoiler territory. It's where some of the plot twists start kicking in. You figure out that the wife has been manipulating her husband into the situation. And again, I can't discuss anymore because it would spoil the experience for you if you choose to go read this. So where does this fall in my ranking of Freida McFadden books? I am going to say it's more toward the middle, and that is because I feel the plot twist that she gives you towards the end, it's not that they feel forced, but they feel like they're so independent of what the reader is expecting. She's been using these perceptions the whole time to increase this tension in the story, which she does wonderfully, but I don't feel the plot twist pays off for for bringing this reader through these story with these perceptions and what's happening. if you've never read Freida McFadden, I wouldn't recommend this as a first book to read. Not that, again, it's a bad book. I enjoyed it. I probably would recommend The Housemaid, Never Lie, or The Coworker, because she nails the plot twist in those books. She's also very good at playing with perceptions to get you in a train of thought to where the plot twists pay off. I just didn't feel she nailed it in this one. And I also think it's what I call plot twist fatigue, when authors or film directors are known initially for delivering great plot twists. Sometimes as they get further down the road, they know that their fans are expecting these, and occasionally you get bad ones and they miss the mark, but it's not necessarily a true representation of what they're able to do with a plot twist. And that's how I feel about this. The plot twists in here are not a representation of the phenomenal and outstanding plot twist she has had in her other novels. So if you've read Freida McFadden, you'll still enjoy the book. I'd be curious to see what you feel about the plot twist. If you've never read Freida McFadden and you do read it, I don't want you to think the plot twist, if you agree with me or for some reason they don't resonate with you, to read some of her other work, because she's a phenomenal author, as you can tell. So that's my review of Freida McFadden, The Crash. I want to know if you've read it, or if you've read other Freida McFadden books. I'm very mumbly today. Please post in the comments what you've read, what you like. What do you think about some of her plot twists? Do you believe in plot twist fatigue? I'd be interested to discuss that. So thank you for joining me today in the reading room, and I hope your next reading experience is a great reading experience.